People usually imagine apex predators resting at the top of the food chain from day one. On the rugged, isolated terrain of Komodo Island, the reality is entirely different. A Komodo dragon enters the world completely alone. You hatch inside a subterranean hole that feels like a crowded sauna, with absolutely zero maternal protection waiting for you when you break through your shell. The moment you reach the surface, you are instantly on the menu. The ground level of this island is heavily patrolled by your own older siblings and adult dragons, all of whom will gladly eat a newborn. Your very first breaths are spent in absolute panic. Your only objective is to scramble up the nearest tree as fast as your tiny claws can carry you to avoid becoming a bite-sized snack. To eventually rule this island, a Komodo dragon has to survive its first few months as the ultimate prey to its own family. For the first few months of life, young dragons adhere to a strict no-ground diet. You live exclusively in the vertical space of the canopy, clinging to tree trunks where the heavier adults can't reach you. Down there, you're a target. Up here, your mottled brown and green scales act as a natural invisibility cloak. You blend directly into the bark and leaves, hiding in plain sight from the hungry mouths patrolling below. This vertical exile means surviving on whatever you can scavenge. The menu is limited to insects, small lizards, and the occasional bird that reacts a fraction of a second too late. Living as a refugee in the branches forces a young dragon to master extreme patience and absolute stillness. Those exact traits will eventually become its deadliest hunting tools. Eventually, you outgrow your camouflage. Your body gets too heavy for the thin branches, and you are forced to make the terrifying descent back down to solid ground. This diagram shows the ecological hierarchy of Komodo Island. You start trapped in the lower tiers, vulnerable to massive adult dragons. But through a brutal game of hide-and-seek and sheer trial and error, you slowly climb the ranks. Your first real hunt requires perfect timing. You stalk your prey, keeping low to the ground, reading the movements of an unsuspecting animal until you find the exact right moment to strike. When your jaw finally clamps down on your target, the outcome is decisive. This successful struggle yields the high-calorie fuel needed for a rapid growth spurt and massive confidence. Securing that first major kill marks a permanent transition. The dragon now operates as an active, lethal threat on the forest floor. Growing into an adult brings a new spatial crisis. Komodo Island covers miles of rugged terrain, but the best hunting grounds are incredibly crowded, which means you have to carve out and defend your own patch of land. Finding that territory requires miles of searching and almost certainly ends in violence. You have to physically wrestle and evict other massive dragons to claim your spot, using sheer reptilian weight to force your rivals out. Once you secure your turf, your daily routine becomes highly efficient. You conserve energy by sleeping heavily and dedicate your waking hours to securing one massive meal. Your diet now scales to your size. You take down large mammals like water buffalo, gorging on the meat until you enter a deep digestive coma that lasts for days. As you mature, the urge to mate kicks in. Males engage in fierce posturing for partners, while the females eventually bury their eggs deep in the dirt and walk away, leaving the next generation entirely on its own. By abandoning those eggs, you perpetuate the exact same cycle of terror you survived. You secure your throne by ensuring your offspring start at the very bottom. If you manage to survive 15 years on the island, you reach the onset of senescence. Senescence is the biological process of physical deterioration that comes with old age. For a Komodo dragon, hitting 15 is like a human reaching their 90s, resulting in a severe drop in speed and muscle mass. You can no longer rely on raw physical power. Surviving your later years means leaning entirely on the deep territorial knowledge and predatory wisdom you've accumulated over a decade of hunting. But eventually, a younger, faster dragon will arrive to claim your hunting grounds. The challenger comes at you with the exact same relentless energy you once used to conquer this land. Given the mating habits on the island, the dragon tearing into your scales might even be the offspring you abandoned years ago. Every blow is heavy, and your aging muscles give out. Defeated and battered, you are forced to retreat to the fringes of your own territory to quietly live out your final days. On Komodo Island, the title of apex predator is never permanently owned. It is a temporary lease paid in blood, ending exactly as it began, alone.